We're in March now. The days are getting longer. The light is returning if you're in the northern hemisphere. And that means a big expansion in progress for this spring. So much is happening right now. A lot of galactic stuff is really starting to be reflected out into our reality. So as your frequency rises, you're going to be able to start to perceive things or information, objects, beings that weren't there before, simply because you weren't able to see them or perceive them because your frequency was lower. But as we continue to expand our consciousness and ground more of our higher self, more of these things become part of our reality. It's just a natural process of ascension. And it's an amazing thing to see. I was just out last night looking at the sky, beautiful, clear sky, and just seeing energy and seeing objects moving that are there in one moment and gone the next. Saw some shadowy beings in my house and was able to communicate with them just last night. Very, very cool experiences. These are energies that have always been there. They've just been beyond our perception. Now, I've had the ability for a while to communicate with galactics, my deceased loved ones, and other multidimensional energies, but it's starting to happen for more and more people out there. And that is because as we continue to ground our light, we are creating or reconstituting the grid, the Earth grid, with the help of our star family so that it is more supportive of higher frequency energy. Therefore, it is more supportive of manifesting these types of experiences. So there's a lot of things that are going to start to come online now as more of the DNA gets activated, the densities released. We're seeing it in the collective, a lot of collective clearing happening right now, a lot of people waking up, coming around to asking themselves, well, what the heck's going on? What kind of reality was I believing, which was a very limited experience of a reality up until now? They are taking a more expanded view, starting to have synchronicities pop up, numbers on the clock and things in songs, license plates, all kind of stuff coming to the forefront now, just to give those people who have been asleep an opportunity to awaken. It kind of shakes them loose a little bit out of that programmed slumber, day-to-day operation. Those of you who followed my advice, getting up, doing something different in the morning, that should help as well to further get you out of those programmed responses. When you first wake up in the morning and you start your day the way you've started it for the last 10, 20 years, you're going to have the same type of a day. You're going to have the same type of a reality because you're working within those subconscious beliefs, limited subconscious programming. So when we start to shake things up, do things differently, reality starts to change. And it starts to change in a way that is more in alignment with your soul's purpose, with the energy of your higher self, with your multidimensional self. So be available to allow changes to come through, to allow new energy to come forward and to manifest in new experiences. When we continue having the same type of experiences day in, day out, we have the same type of life. And I know for a lot of you, maybe your current situation isn't resonating with you. Well, when we start to be open to new experiences, we start to lean into synchronicities. How are we feeling in the moment when we experience something new, when we experience something strange that has to or seem to have a higher purpose to it or a higher meaning to it? What are we feeling in that moment? Are we allowing this energy to come through, or are we allowing our mind to create a story around the event that is happening in that moment? So when you see a shadow, are you seeing a higher dimensional being, or are you going to allow your mind to make up an excuse or a reason as to what you're seeing to kind of create a story about it? So when these things start to happen, it's very important to get in here and allow that energy to come through. And if you have communication, like I had communication with these beings in my house, who, by the way, have been there a long, long time, they're just now coming forward because I have the ability to really experience their presence. My kids have felt them and actually seen them as well. And these are just beings living on a different plane that are existing in our reality, but we're now starting to be able to communicate with them and experience them. So that is part of the expanded reality. That is part of the experience. Just as the galactics came in to me and I was able to perceive them and have had ever since communication with them, with my guides, that is part of an expansion of consciousness, part of an expansion of your reality. But in order to allow that energy to move through you, you have to get out of your own way and stop leaning into those limiting beliefs, because that will close it, will clamp it like the hose, clamp it right off, and the energy won't flow. Okay, the limited beliefs, those are going to come in based on what you were taught and what you've experienced through your five senses. We need to expand beyond our five senses, get in tune with chakra 12, our auric field out here, and all this energy that connects us with our higher dimensional self. Start to be able to feel and experience the pinging off that and feel it. My guides would come in and they would ping my field. Okay, that would attune me, tune me into their frequency. And then I'd be able to establish instantly communication. It's like tuning into the frequency on the radio dial, right? So they ping your field, and your guides are always doing this. Higher aspects of you are always doing this. We're just so reliant on our five senses that we turn away from it and we ignore it, or we think it's some sort of a weird physical glitch or something like that. Sometimes they'll even take over your electronic equipment, and again, we'll think it's some sort of a glitch. Okay, that's where our mind goes, and that limits your experience, limits your potential. It keeps it within the box of programming and those limiting beliefs. So we need to remain open to that. Last night, for the longest time, I've been having tapping on my nightstand next to me in bed. Tap, tap. It would come in twos, sometimes in threes. And I'm usually distracted, busy, some whatever. And I've reached out a few times to see who it was. I know there's energy there. Well, last night I connected after I connected with these beings in my house. After I heard that tap, I heard a real loud ha in my ear. Ha, woke me right up. Just like, okay. So a wider perception of what energy is around us, and we start to be able to communicate. So these are very playful types of beings, and I have experienced that before. Some of you probably have as well. So there's communication now, and it is what it is. Right now, I'm in control. My kids are in control of their realities, and we're sovereign beings. So we can establish those types of boundaries around this energy, and just being able to feel and experience that, I think, is preparing us really for when we really step into that expanded reality where our galactic guides really start to come forward. So you're going to be led down the path to contact or disclosure. And it's important to be able to keep your perspective as wide as you can and allow this energy to come forward. And remember, if you're not quite ready for it, but your higher self is moving this through you, you could experience some fear. Some fear could come up. Programming will tell us there's evil, there's bad, whatever it may be. And that triggers a fear response. Okay. And that's all coming from the lower chakras. Okay. Feeling insecure, not feeling sovereign, those types of things. That's energy that is coming up to be experienced, to be felt. Just like I had when I had the galactics come through, they appeared as these three shadow-like beings when I was sleeping. Okay, I woke up, there they were. It reflects out this way. I had fear, energy blockages. I've since cleared that, and the channel is now much more open and available. So if you are in fear, know that those are programmed traumas and program responses, learned things that you have picked up. And if you remain anchored and centered, sovereign and in control of your experience, because you have control over your experience, provided you have the awareness that you have the control over your experience. It's very important. You'll be able to set your boundaries and establish that. Okay. But it's important to be able to allow this energy to come through and not close it off from fear, but allow it to come through on your terms. Okay. And within your boundaries. And as more of that energy clears and heals, your reality is going to rise, and you're going to rise in frequency. Your reality is going to reflect that expanded or higher frequency reality. and more of the amazing multidimensional energies, multidimensional beings, your guides are going to start to come forward. The stage is being set. It is such an exciting time. If you've experienced any of these types of experiences lately or noticed that they've been increasing, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear about it. Thank you.